What's going on, and welcome in to another episode of Just a Bet Outside. This is freaking awesome. The first baseball video for the 2023 season. And I know you're already looking at these people thinking, geez, you brought Brian and Jake back. You got to be kidding me. But they are back. They love baseball as much as I do, and we are jacked up to start talking about it. This video is going to talk about the 5 big rule changes in baseball. That's right. America's pastime is making some big changes this year. And we are jacked because, in the words of Babe Ruth, baseball was, is, and always will be the best game in the world. And I agree with him. So
Amen.
We're going to get after it today. Before we do, make sure to hit like and subscribe. Trying to reach our first goal of 1,000 followers. We're excited. We're going to do a lot of baseball videos. We got season previews coming up. We're going to go division by division, give you some predictions, World Series, all that, and talk to you about how good the Mariners are, pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. Jake, how we doing? We ready to roll?
I'm doing great. Baseball, baby. Nothing better.
That's right. Brian, you ready?
I'm ready, Steven.
Let's do this. First, we're going to bring up the 5 rule changes. So let's pull that page up. Here we are. No more shifts, the huge one that everyone's been talking about, and then the pitch clock. That's it's going to put a clock on baseball for the first time ever. And then the new one that's kind of new to me, but 2 disengagements, they're called, per plate appearance. We'll talk about all of these in more detail, how it impacts the game, and our thoughts. But and then bigger bases, because who doesn't want bigger bases? It's obviously really important. And the automatic runner rule, we are keeping that at second base in extra innings. They decided to make that official for the regular season. So those are the 5 rules that we're going to talk about. Let's dive in because we got a lot of opinions on this. I know we do. Let's start with the first one. No more shifts. Brian, I'm just going to kick it to you right away. Actually, you know what? Let me explain the rule first, people, before we do. The 2 infielders on each side of second base. Both feet, by the way, the fact that we're getting this technically ridiculous for baseball, but both feet must also be on the infield dirt on pitch release. So it's a big change. Here's what happened. It's to increase batting average because in 2022, the average was the lowest in history of baseball at 243. 243. Man, that's great. I wish that was like a good average for high school. I would have been a stud. And
College.
Yeah, that too. No shift increases this. By the way, this is top shelf information I'm about to give you. The no shift increases singles, as the rate in 2022 was 5.33 singles per team, which was the lowest in Major League Baseball history. Who doesn't want more singles? You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's supposed to do. What do we think about this, Brian?
Well, as I think I'm the elder here in this group, I actually remember watching baseball when they didn't shift. And what it required was a really good shortstop and a really good second baseman to cover more ground. And I think that while one of the effects obviously is more singles and higher batting averages, I think we're also going to find out who are really good infielders and how much ground can they cover. And I think you're going to find that, one of the side effects is fielding percentages may go down, perhaps. Some of these guys have not had to move very much in recent years. And so I'm for it. It's sort of the way I remember baseball. And I mean, I don't think my 2 kids who are, 18 and 21, I don't think they remember baseball where the shortstop sat between second and third and the second baseman sat between second and first. So I think this is a good rule change, in my opinion. I think everybody probably agrees with that.
Yeah, sort of. Let's so there's a loophole around the shift that we learned that we got from somebody that Brian sent over to me. Let's pull that up. So here we go. It looks like a John Madden play. So what's going on here is we got the left fielder can go to the edge of the grass there, played by the second baseman. You essentially have 3 infielders. Now the difference is, the second baseman's not playing deep near the right fielder, but I mean, this might be a way to do it if you are pretty confident no one's going to hit an oppo down the line, because that would be shitty, to be honest with you. I mean, that wouldn't be good at all. So
what baseball player hits oppo these days?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's the reason for this.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So, I mean, that is an option. I just wanted to show you guys this shift. Center field would have to cover a ton of ground. Third base, maybe run back to get some depth because they're the only guy on that side. But it's interesting. I mean, it's definitely interesting. You know, teams are going to try stuff like this.
Sure.
So, yeah, Jake, what do you think about all this?
I love it. I hated the shift from the very beginning. I just feel like it's such an advantage to the defense, obviously, and they're trying to make it a more proactive game, more exciting for fans, so on and so forth. I didn't like seeing, 5 guys on one side of the infield and guys hit seeds into the gap, or 190 feet into right field, and it's caught by the second baseman. I'm like, that's not where you're supposed to be. Like, come on. I'm a baseball purist, you know what I mean? Like, just like the older guys at heart. I really wish it would help change how hitters hit, but it's not. It's only going to increase this pull happy. I'm going to, go to the strong side every single time. I'm not going to hit. We grew up watching a guy who's arguably one of the best hitters, to play the game, Edgar Martinez, and that guy was foul pole to foul pole. You couldn't put a shift on him. You could try, but he would beat it. Nowadays it's not. It's how many bombs are you going to hit, so on and so forth. I'm going to counter something a little bit with Brian. Is I think RBIs are going to go up. Sure, I think fielding percentage is going to go down, but I think RBIs are going to go up as well because the more guys, obviously the more singles you get, everyone's still trying to hit bombs. Well, those 3, 4, 5 guys, they just might miss one, get a single, and the next guy might get a bomb. So I think runs are going to increase, as good as defenses are, or I guess pitchers, as good as pitchers are. I like it going back to, back to normal, I guess you could say. But yeah, I just wish hitters could hit.
I do too. So let me, I want to just bring up a couple of points that people might have when you listen to this. So I used to sometimes be under it like, why can't the hitter just learn to hit the other way? But I think I'm getting to the point after listening to major leaguers, like I know baseball, and I know that's freaking hard to hit. I know it's the hardest thing you can do in sports is just hit anything. So is it unrealistic to just say that the hitter should have like adjusted how they hit a little bit? Or I mean, and I will agree with Brian. I think, and I heard it from I think Cody Bellinger or something, like we might bring athleticism into the game. People might actually want like an athletic second baseman now, as opposed to a Robinson Cano who plays like
barely moves
at second base. But I mean, you might get more of this, and it brings athleticism, and I like that part. But in regards to like the hitting, I mean, what if we just do football and say, hey, you can't play cover 2? I mean, there is a weird part to it saying this is exactly how you have to play defense. It's weird being told that. I was just curious your guys' thoughts on that, and not seeing if the hitter can adjust. But I do know the hitter has been hitting that way their whole life. And now all of a sudden they get to the highest level, and now there's shifts and all that. So I was just curious.
I think both of them are wrong. But the fact that baseball has to put in a rule to say no more defense, like not no more defense, but you can't play defense how you want. You can't do it this way. I get it. I understand it's pure. But if the coach or a team comes up with a game plan to stop somebody from scoring or anything like that, whether it be baseball, basketball, football, and then you go, nope, can't do it. It's like offsides in football or soccer and offsides in hockey. Like, I don't get those rules. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you got to figure it out.
Offsides makes a lot of sense because it's like cherry picking. You can't send half your team down there and then just be like, oh, we got to.
But okay, don't get into soccer, but then you can put one of your players down. That's their strategy, but now they have one less player. We don't want to talk about football.
Right. Exactly. Okay, that's my point, though, is like,
or you have everybody
came up with something.
Anyways.
And you're going to go, no, instead, it's that since it's working so great, these coaches came up with this, we're just going to take it away rather than having the players or the other coaches figure out how to beat it, whether it's building a different team or whatnot. Instead, it's no, let's just change the rules and make it fair for the guys to pull. And then it's just actually just going to encourage more guys just to pull it, unless they do this other shift beater that we came up with, or not that we came up with, but Brian found. It's just going to encourage more people to keep blasting it where the shift would have been. So how does that help?
Okay, so as a host, I'm kind of reading faces. I feel like Brian has something to say right now. Do you have a rebuttal to that?
Yeah, I mean, this is the equivalent of the roughing the passer penalty, right?
Brady
This
rule.
whole purpose is to create excitement in baseball and to have more offense. And so, in fact, pretty much all these rules are related to that.
Yes.
So this is a subtle way to create more offense, and that's the purpose. Yes, I totally agree with Ryan. It's tough to tell a coach that you can't put your players wherever you want in the field, but this rule is in place so that baseball becomes a more exciting product for people and to attract more viewers.
Agreed.
Totally
It is
understand
it's an entertainment also, and what I will say is, unlike other sports, hitting a baseball is the hardest freaking thing you can do. Like I already said, like it's different. It's so freaking hard. But I'm gonna say one thing, and this goes for all the rule changes. You can ask for as many freaking hits as you want or stolen bases, but these guys' analytics, they're still trying to just hit a home run. So it's a home run or a strikeout half the time. So it's only going to improve so much because these guys are still swinging for the fences and they could care less about striking out. Maybe, do you guys think this will change their approach at all at the plate? Like, or do you not think any of that changes because analytics say it's got to be a home run?
Nope.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the point.
I mean,
they're going to be. Go ahead, Jake. My bad.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was just going to say they're just going to keep pulling it even more now. Like it's just going to encourage more of it because you're not allowed to do the shift. So I don't know.
I will say one of the things you have to think about over the last 10, maybe even 15 years. Think about how many guys throw in the upper 90s now, right? Like guys that sit mid to upper 90s, you have 3 or 4 of them on your starting rotation. And if your guys don't throw that out of the pen, you're not playing in the pen. There's nobody like a Jamie Moyer. You see what happens to Marco Gonzalez. I love him to death. But unless you're throwing him right behind somebody that's the exact opposite of him and he's dialed, these dudes are getting shellacked. So it was a lot easier, we'll say, in obviously 70s, 80s, 90s, but the early 2000s as well, to be able to hit to all portions of the field because you're only facing a guy that throws 95 to 99 maybe once a week, maybe once every couple of weeks, and hitting 92 on the outside corner of the plate to right field is a lot easier than trying to hit 99, right? And so what do these guys do? They're gearing up for one pitch and they're swinging as hard as they can because that's all they can do. Trying to fight off 99, not possible. And then you see some of the breaking pitches that these guys throw just as hard, so I can understand it. You know what I mean? There's no more of this sit and wait and then drive the baseball. It's, I got to get out in front of the baseball as fast as I can and hope that I'm guessing right, which sucks. But I mean, that's also evolution it's evolution of players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You're changing with the game. So I get it. I was taught by Lyle Overbay how to hit, and I took every pitch the other way. That's all he taught. And you just lose all your power. You just inside pitch, hands inside the ball, poke it to right field. You know what I mean? Yeah. But all right. Well, that's the shift. We kind of all agree a little bit on it, I think, because I do agree that you do have to make a change, and the pitchers are just too hard. Just really quick question, and just do quick answers. If they ever move, what's that?
I definitely don't think Ryan agrees with the shift.
No, you're right. Orange over there does not agree. But I just have one quick question, and just give me a short answer. If they ever moved the mound and the plate a little farther apart, just a little bit, would you guys be for it, or would you guys just absolutely hate it with these guys throwing 102? Brian?
Hate it.
Okay. Jake?
I hate it due to injury.
Okay, like pitcher injury?
Yeah, I think more guys would get hurt.
Okay,
by moving it farther away, more guys would get hurt, Jake?
Yeah.
For the pitcher, they're throwing a little bit farther.
Harder on their arm. That I have no idea. Jake played baseball in college.
You tried.
Steven, you played baseball in college. You guys would know better than me. So that one I have no opinion on that one from the casual fan.
Fair answer.
What about you? What do you think?
I don't think you can. Mine was the pitcher. You just can't. First of all, these guys grow up throwing a certain. I mean, you just change it even a little bit. It's a huge difference. I mean, it's just
Plus pitchers are weird.
What's that?
Pitchers are weird, anyways.
Yeah, it's true. Submarine pitchers are really cool though. Okay, listen. Here we go.
They're just trying to. I mean, this is just legal ways of basically getting steroids back in the game, right? Because that was the exciting time of baseball.
Yes, you're correct. And we could talk about that in another episode, but I think Royce should be back in. Here's rule number 2. Let's move on. The pitch clock. Here we go. 15 seconds the pitcher gets to start their windup with no runners on base. They get 20 seconds when runners are on base. The pitcher must start their motion before the clock runs out, or it's considered a ball. The batter must be in the batter's box with 8 seconds left, or it's considered a strike. Probably the only change for a hitter in all these rule changes. They did this, and it shaved off 20 minutes per game in the minors with the pitch clock. Just something to think about. 20 minutes per game. It's weird to me, but the average time for a 9-inning game was 3 hours and 4 minutes, and it's been rising consistently since 2014. I mean, there's a reason why they're doing these things for the time constraints. Jake, what are your thoughts on a pitch clock?
I hate it. I mean, I think it's absolutely ridiculous. There's reasons why pitchers get into rhythms, so on and so forth. So you're really just going to break up rhythms. Realistically, one of the first things that I think about is how are you really going to enforce this? This is going to put so much strain between the umpiring crew and the players themselves, which is only going to increase it with the managers. So Major League Baseball is going to put a huge divide between the guys that are having to enforce these rules and the guys that are out there trying to play the game. Because like we said, everyone has a routine, right? Whether it's the guy that comes in and Nomar Garcia Park. Can you imagine him getting up there and doing this and just being like, wait a minute, 8 seconds? Like, what's 8 seconds? So you get to that level doing something, you know what I mean? And that routine, if they're going to try to break that routine, I think we're going to lose some guys just mentally, you know what I mean? They're not going to be the same. But I think you're putting too much strain on it, and it's going to cause a lot of issues between umpires and teams in general.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wish they kind of did it to where maybe the pitch clock was off in the last inning or two, like when it's crunch time, you got big situations.
Right.
Like say through 7 innings, you have it in the 8th and 9th. But here's what really pisses me off. I just found out they plan on doing this for the playoffs, which is an absolute just travesty. It's an absolute joke because every single pitch could be your entire season.
Right.
Ray to Jordan as last year, freaking. But I'm just saying every pitch is so big, and now what? If you get a pitch from the catcher, you want to shake him off. You're running out of time. Like, do I pitch? Do I step off? If I step off, I only got one more step off this. Like, there's just too many things when there's so much going on that this would be a joke if they actually keep this in the playoffs. But I agree with you. I don't like the pitch clock, to be honest with you. I know Ryan likes it. I could tell by his reaction. But Brian, what do you think about this? I know you were mentioning it before we recorded how baseball used to be the only sport that didn't have a clock.
Yeah, I mean, it was the only sport that wasn't timed, and that's gone now. And getting back to the postseason, those are some of my favorite baseball moments. Are the stare down between the pitcher and the batter, and the pitcher throwing over to first. Well, we're going to get into the throwing over to first, but the batter stepping out and just the intensity. Think about the Mariners game against Houston. I mean, those were intense moments. Every single pitch meant something. And I think, but for me, the real issue here is reducing the game by 20 minutes. That's 1, maybe 2 less beers at a game. I mean, no one's thinking about this, how it's going to overall. I mean,
yeah, you're standing in line for so long to get a beer, and now all of a sudden the game's going quick, and you're shoot,
seventh inning, and they're taking the taps off. Like, this is, I mean, no one is thinking about the macro effect of that. So,
I agree with that. Yeah, you are against the pitch clock, is that right, Brian? Or do you like it?
Yeah, I have. This is. Yeah, I am completely against it. That's not baseball.
And the other thing is, like, if the game's 2 hours and 40 minutes instead of 3 hours, it doesn't get just millions of more viewers. You know what I mean? Like, if you're watching baseball, you're watching baseball. I mean, in my opinion, I don't know. That's what I think. But Ryan, by the way, is giving you the casual baseball fan point of view today. What do you think about this, Ryan?
Mine wasn't to speed up the game. I was thinking, and Jake and Brian made great points and made me think about it and almost changed my mind, but not quite. I'm thinking about the excitement of the fans just erupting when that pitch clock is winding down and they're counting. All the fans going nuts, 70,000, 10, 9, and that pitcher's stressing, panicking, throws a ball, and it gets hammered over the fence. Just you're bringing in so much excitement from the fans, kind of like they do for basketball when Giannis is sitting at the free throw line and the whole arena is counting him down and things like that. So I just feel like that can bring just a different kind of excitement level to the stadium and the game. But as far as baseball not having a clock and now it does, I agree with Brian there. That kind of sucks. It's baseball. It's supposed to not have a clock and things like that and
Okay,
human error. But the
I
excitement.
know what you're saying. No, you're done. I know what you're saying about the excitement, but let me just ask you this: do you think? I just have a rebuttal to you. Just as curious what you think. Do you think it also sucks when you're trying to play a baseball game and the fans are counting down 7, 6, 5, and it's really not? You know, like they're just trying to rush you out. I don't know. I just think it kind of throws off what baseball is about, and that kind of stuff is okay for basketball. You know what I mean? Shot clock and these fake countdowns. I don't know.
But then,
Pitcher trying to throw a pitch.
then in the opposite, all the fans are doing that, and the pitcher throws a K and just turns around and mean mugs the entire crowd or does whatever. Oh, I could just see it going that way too, and it'd just be so cool to see.
Baseball's not the spectacle that
It
they're
needs to
trying
be
to
though.
make it. It does not need to be. It is perfect the way it is. So here's my thing.
It's so pretty. It's so beautiful.
I am perfectly fine if they were to do the pitch clock all the way through AAA. Sure, do it to the minors. But once again, they call it the show for a reason, right? Like you only get up there for so many chances. Like you said, it's not going to bring people to the games being there for 20 minutes less because like Brian said, that means that's 1 or 2 less beers that I'm going to drink for the game. So I could see it, you know what I mean, through the minor leagues, get those games down so that maybe that'll attract more people because they'll be like, oh, look, we can take our young kids to a really fun sporting event that's only going to be, you know, an hour and a half or 2 hours or something like that. But realistically, you're not bringing younger kids to major league stadiums every now and again, but not on a regular basis. It's for adults, right? Like it's Friday, Saturday night. Like we want to go out and have some fun, enjoy baseball. So
yeah, the $10 Rainier tickets. That's where you take family. You know what I mean? Like
exactly.
minor league teams. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, I get it. We all are pretty much disagreement on that. Here's what I just also read, by the way. The umpires can now talk to each other without a meeting. Okay, I gotta say something. It's the year 2023. Why the hell did they take so long to get like some sort of communication to each other? Where instead of meeting in the middle of the field, now they can talk to each other as if they're like cutting edge technology. We can actually talk to each other. Offices all around the freaking world do it. I don't understand how all of a sudden they're like, oh, you guys can now. That'll save so much time. They don't have to meet in the middle anymore. Like, I wonder if they're doing replays too. I don't know. Instead of going
the pitch clock is they're going to get buzzed. They have a watch that buzzes them when the pitch clock expires, so they're not sitting there looking at the clock. They basically took all of the Houston Astros technology and implemented it in the entire league.
Well said. Well said.
And
yeah.
I'm
going to start shaking. It's like really too intense. Yeah. Oh, that is funny. Okay, with that, let's move on to rule number 3. 2 disengagements per plate appearance. Okay. Step-offs, fake pickoffs, all count as a disengagement, including obviously an actual pickoff. It's going to be considered a balk if it happens a third time unsuccessfully. So real quick, if someone has already had 2 disengagements in an at-bat, and then they throw over to first base on the third one, they can do that, but they have to get the guy out, or it's considered a balk. Does that make sense? I think that's how I read this. So you can't actually try a third. So this is trying to get more action on the bases. That's the point of this rule. And I'm going to give you stats because that's why I do this. Stolen base rates were around 0.75 per game in the 80s and 90s. They are now at about a half per game. I mean, it's just not happening. Part of that is also because everyone just wants power hitters and all that kind of stuff. But stolen base attempts went way up with this new rule in the single A minor leagues where they test. I don't have the numbers for that, but so that's the point of the rule. I just like to kind of give all the aspects of it. Brian, what do you think about this rule? Is this a problem? Whatever, not a big deal.
When I first read about this rule, I thought this was like an episode of The Bachelor, like Disengagements. Like this.
Right.
I've never even heard that word before.
That's like what they all do after the show.
Yeah, they
disengage.
You're allowed to. Again, I mean, to me, this is just unnatural baseball. I mean, part of the game is the mind games between the pitcher and the runner. And yeah, I mean, they throw 30 pickoff plays or attempts sometimes, but that's just the game. And you want to know, is he going to go now? Is he going to go? But now we know after the third throw, he's going. Or I guess it's the second throw.
After the second, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's going. Now, we'll get to this larger bases, but this is, I mean, one, I assume that Ricky Henderson's records are probably, single season records are probably in trouble. I mean, this is what they're encouraging, or stolen bases. But two, are we going to have, is the value of the catcher position going to be higher now? I mean, they're going to be plenty more attempts of steals. So,
pitchers already don't hit. All they do is field. They barely hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that is a good point. But now, the catchers are going.
Rutschman.
Yes.
2 words,
good.
boys.
He's good. 2 more words. Mike Zunino. Okay, but yeah, no, I agree with you, Brian.
But yeah, I get it. The art of the stolen base is a lost thing, and they're trying to bring it back, which also goes back to just creating, again, more offense, getting more runners in scoring position. They should just let everybody start at second with all these new rules.
You know what? I agree with you. And the only thing I love about all these rules is that I'm hoping teams start building a more well-rounded roster. And it's not like leadoff hitters back in the day, guys. They used to be guys that can hit singles, doubles, run the bases. Like like Kyle Schwarber's leading off for the Phillies. I would love to see a lineup. I think last time I really remember is maybe when the Royals won the World Series so many years back. They had a decently complete team. They made contact better than anybody else, I think, in a long time. And I hope we just start seeing at least players like that. And if that changes the game, I like that, because I'm sick of just watching home runs. Only home runs. But I agree with you. I want to see stolen bases. But but to answer you, Brian, what about the mind game of he's already picked off twice, right? So everyone knows there's a good chance he runs. Now you could do a pitch out depending on the count, things like that. There is other mind games now with that. Does that help at all or no?
I wonder, the lead on the third or after the second disengagement is going to be obviously a few more inches than the other two. And I wonder how many pitchers actually attempt the third throw.
One.
Yeah. It's ballsy. It's like bunting with 2 strikes. What I mean?
100%. It's basically the equivalent of throwing the ball over the first baseman's head. You basically have to be positive you're going to get that dude. And
that's true.
I suspect that we're not. It'll be interesting to sort of look at it after the season's over, but I suspect there won't be very many third throws, is what I'm guessing.
I would assume so. Yeah, Jake, thoughts on this?
I don't think it's honestly going to increase steals too dramatically in the next couple of years, because I think, like you guys are talking about, teams have their lineup set currently for the way the game is played right now, which is that analytics of how far can the ball go and launch angle and all that stuff. I don't like the disengagement for the simple fact of sometimes you get crossed up with your catcher as a pitcher, right? And so what's the only way to do that? Step off. That's how you tell guys to do things. Step off. Well, so now you're going to completely frazzle pitchers. I guess I don't mind it in a way, because it's going to, maybe give the hitters some more of an advantage against those guys that throw in the 90s. But at the same time, we're going to see, once again, it goes back. I think we're going to see a lot more discord between hitters and umpires, because the pitcher's going to stand on the bump longer, and they're going to try to call time, and they're not going to get time. And the next thing you know, that buzzer's going to go off, and there's too many moving parts now. Now you're trying to get something, way too much to go on all at the same time.
Yeah. You know what sucks for the fan, of baseball for their whole life, like most of us are, we used to know the game, and now all of a sudden they're going to stop we're gonna be like, it's gonna be football. Like, what's the call here? Like, what's happening? Like, I used to know like every single thing why it's happening, but now it's I don't know. Oh, was that his third disengagement or is that a pitch clock issue?
Right.
Like the whole game is just it's weird to me. And now and catchers call pickoffs, not mistaken. They will call a pickoff. What if the catcher's like, because he's got a lot on his mind, he doesn't know he's already had 2 already, and he's calling a pickoff. Then what? He's shaking him off. Oh, pitch clock ran out. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many things that could go on. Now the catcher's on. I was talking to Brian before this. Like, the umpire got the worst end of it out of all these rules. There's just too much to know. There really is.
Well, once again, guys, you got to think about it. It just doesn't have to be a pickoff. It could just be a disengagement from the rubber.
Which
so what
happens
happens?
Yeah.
All the time. So what happens if I'm getting ready to start the at bat? I got to run around first base. I look over and I'm like, oh shoot, like we didn't get the sign down. I disengage, and I get back on a couple pitches later. Now I pick off, and now it's deep into a count. It's 2-2. No, we're shaking off. Okay, we're not meeting. I disengage. Boom. Now that guy's at second base because it's a balk because I disengaged 3 times. It's not just.
Go ahead.
What are you gonna scream?
I was just gonna say. No, I was gonna say. You know what? We're also not like saying like they might step off just because they're running out of time and they're not going to get it off in time.
Yeah.
And so they're like, do I just like screw up on and take the ball because I didn't get the pitch off in time, or do I use one of my disengagements? Like, there's just so much on a pitcher's mind that there shouldn't be. And
then it's going to cause guys to quick pitch, which is going to cause umpires to call more balks because you can't speed up your delivery on purpose, so on and so forth. And
these guys are just running like right to the end. They're just hurry up and getting set and thrown it. Yeah, I agree. Casual fan, what do we think about this one?
Whew, man, I didn't think it really made that big of a difference, and affected it a whole bunch.
Welcome to baseball minds
right now. I was just thinking, like, what does it matter? There's a few times I've watched a baseball game where I'm like, come on, just hurry up and pitch. Like, this is getting ridiculous. You've thrown it to first base like 4 times. I'm tired of it. Just move along. Let's go. But now that you guys are talking, I'm like, I don't know which way I'm leaning. Like, that annoyed me, but
that's why I went to you last, because I wanted you to hear all these things.
Yeah, like there's a lot to that one. I don't know. That one's tough for me to have opinion. I'd probably say it's probably bad. I mean, I don't think it speeds up the game enough where it really matters and everything. So I don't know.
I think more action on the bases was what they really wanted out of it. Maybe speed up, but
like Jake was saying, it's all about home runs and things like that. So I don't know if it really changes, power hitters trying to run and steal. Like Schwarber's going to try and steal bases now. Like, is that going to happen?
Well, I think what Jake said is true. Like, it might impact us in a few years when teams start really like, building a team a little bit more toward the rules. But is it fair to say we all just think this is a pointless rule? Is that?
I'm on that one.
Yeah, pretty much. So, okay, that's rule number 3. Rule number 4. I mean, there's not a lot to talk about. It's an increased base size. It went from 15 to 18 inches, I believe, is what I heard.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was just first base, and it was going to be like fast pitch where you have like 2 separate bases so they don't have collisions. But this is to prevent injuries around the base, obviously, and also increase stolen base attempts because you can now do one of your, slides around the base. You're a little farther away for a tag. You might get some more stolen bases. Apparently the MLB believes this, along with the disengagement rule, is what together will create more action on the base paths. Ryan, I'm going to go to you first.
Sweet. This one's easy for me. The first thing I thought was just like visually, is that going to look weird? The base is going to be 3 inches bigger compared to what it was before. True. I didn't think of stealing bases or collisions or anything like that. I just was thinking, man, that base might look funny. Or if I'm stepping and I roll my ankle because now it's a little bit bigger where I wasn't going to hit it before, now I hit it with half my foot and my ankle's twisted, I'd be pissed. So
these guys are athletes, right? These guys are actual athletes. They don't roll their ankle.
Have you seen some first basemen?
Yeah.
Hey.
Whoa, take it easy. Hey, you know what? We're gonna also see the baseball hit the bases more because of it.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen, and that's just something to think about. Obviously, I don't give a crap about it, but Brian, any thoughts on this? Do you care about the base size going up?
Brian?
Yeah, you.
I think you're right. Adding 3 more inches is going to create more action. But
dude, how did that go over my head at first? I'm glad I didn't get it because I got the wink after too, so that was good.
I actually sort of have no opinion on this other than are the field attendants going to have to be a little bit more ripped now because they're heavier? I don't know. I actually have no opinion on this one.
You know what would have been fun is Lupinella trying to take out a big base, back in the day. Oh yeah, that's true. I don't have a lot to say. I just think it's I don't know. It's just bigger bases. Jake, thoughts?
I don't know why they went with 3 inches. But yeah, I'm fine. I was more inclined to accept it at first base. But all over the field is a little weird. But I mean, if it can prevent any injuries, like I'm down for that. I like being able to see all your superstars be able to play every single day. Will it or does it? I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I was a middle infielder, and all I'm thinking about is double plays. Like whether the base is big or not in that regard, the guy's still sliding into you because that's what they're supposed to do, right? Slide in. I mean, you're supposed to slide into the base. I know, but he's not going to slide to the right side of this big base if I'm on the inside, on the other side. You know what I mean? Am I wrong on that, Brian? Or you had something to say?
To me, before they started instant replay, the bases were sometimes 10 inches bigger because you didn't even have to touch the base for a double play.
That's true. It was the ghost. Yeah, I'm already off the base when I catch it. I love that double play. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
the best.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think the injuries might happen less at first base. Do you think people want to steal more because there's a couple inches more to grab onto? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing.
I think the guys that are going to steal will. I think those guys. Who's I can't remember his name right now, and I'm completely drawing a blank. The new center fielder, he just signed, big deal, fast guy.
For you don't know what team?
For the St. Louis
Did he
Cardinals,
go
Vader or something like that?
No. He was with the Nationals, and then is he with the Dodgers now? Shoot, I can't remember. All these fast. There you go, Trey Turner. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think Trey Turner's probably gonna, love these things. But he was also a wizard with the smaller bases. You know what I mean? Like he was able to get around a lot of guys that way. I think guys that are going to steal bases are going to enjoy this. I think it's going to be hard. Like I think Brian is. This is going to bring back to a point that Brian made. One of our with the shift is now your fielders are going to have to be more athletic because they're going to have to cover more ground and area to block bases and sweeping tags and so on and so forth. So maybe we're going to get some more errors and maybe we're going to get some more, extra bases in certain areas. Maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. The guys who want to steal bases, I mean, it's not going to make Kyle Schwarber and guys like that just all of a sudden, I gotta steal. By the way, if you haven't searched it, Trey Turner pop-up slides are one of the coolest things ever. Have you seen those? They're just
I love
so
them.
Graceful. Yeah. So graceful. Yeah. So anyways, I think we're all just kind of whatever about it. It is what it is. But that's rule number 4. I think we have some opinions on this final rule. The automatic runner on second base in extra innings is now official. They are keeping it all season long and probably for years to come. Not in the playoffs, only regular season. I mean, there's not much to say about it. The guy on second is going to be the guy who made the last out the previous inning in the 9th. And they just move on from there. Here, I'm just going to start with this one. Here's why I hate it. I understand what they're doing, and I'm okay trying to speed it up. And I think if you play 162 games, you don't need 15-inning games, 17-inning games. I get it. You don't want that. But you don't need to get a hit to score a runner. Like a bunt and a sac fly and you get a run. That to me, that you're not earning anything. Like that's just nothing. It's like, I don't know, penalty kick in soccer without goalie. Like I don't even understand it. And I know bunting is not a huge. Also, I'm curious to see what you guys think because I just kind of made this up today. It's probably while my wife was talking and I just started thinking baseball because it happens. But what happened was, what if to make it even, some guys, okay, all of a sudden they're at the 7, 8, 9 part of their line, right? Well, that sucks because, you're probably not even going to get a run. You might not even get a run, 7, 8, 9. Would you guys think it's weird to like all of a sudden like, okay, extra innings, let's start top of the lineup for everybody. Nine slot and your lineup is on second. Is that I'm not saying it's a great idea. I'm just curious what you guys think about that. Jake's shaking his head.
Twice as worse as no. That's
Okay.
horrible.
I'm not saying I love it. I just didn't know because it's really an overtime, unlike other sports where one team could be hitting 2, 3, 4 in the 10th, and another team's hitting 7, 8, 9. It's not. I'm not saying it's not fair. I know it's baseball. It's lineup
Unsung
changes,
heroes,
but,
baby. Unsung heroes.
Okay,
Bring them all in.
Sure. But anyways, I hate this rule. I would be okay with them starting at first because you have to earn it somehow a little bit more. But I don't like second base. I just don't love it. Brian, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a soccer or hockey. To me, this is not how you play baseball. You play baseball by having a batter come to the plate and figure out a way to score. And it's the same way and I don't know when they get to this point in soccer, but they finish the game on penalty kicks. That's not how they got there. They got there by running up and down the grass and not scoring for 3 and
years.
Well, and that's just it's not the way they get there. And so
hey, we have a lot of soccer followers, so be careful.
Sorry, but I meant pitch. But I just don't get it. It would be, pretty soon we're going to get to the point where in extra innings, the batter is going to stand at the plate and he's going to lift the ball up to himself and try to hit it out of the park.
Soft toss?
Yeah, soft toss it to themselves. Like, that's not the way you play baseball. And we didn't get to that point playing it like that. And I don't understand why they would decide a game like that. And I agree with you 100%. You don't even have to get a hit. Now it's shocking how many teams, when they had the runner at second, did not bunt the runner over and try to sacrifice them in. But
yes,
that could be a result of, just like Jake said, the team, not having bunters on it or something, having the lineup. But maybe they're going to get to that point. But I don't know.
I agree. And you know what? The other part of that, it's not just bunting. And Jake, me and you played high school, college. We had situations in practice where it's like, just hit to the right side of the field. You know what I mean? You don't have to, it's not a bunt. It's just, hit the runner over. You make it out, and that's a great at bat. That's a very productive at bat. You got a guy on third now, play out. Yeah.
So think about how many guys aren't playing team baseball these days. It's all about themselves. It's all about I hit 340 I hit 40 bombs. I hit 120 RBIs. It's not that, my team, then it's like, we only won like 70 games. It's like, no, the guy that's hitting 240 but has 40 sacrifices, he's like, guess what our team did? Our team won a bunch of times, Yeah.
Yeah, anyways. I agree. How many times have we seen extra innings? You got in second, nobody out. What a rally. Strikeout, pop out. Okay, cool. Yep. Like, that's just how baseball's going, and none of these rules are going to change that, honestly. So, no. But yeah, Jake, did you have anything else to add to this?
I love this rule. I love this rule. So here's the reason why I love the rule. It goes back to player safety, so on and so forth. I feel like it's going to allow games to end quicker, and which is going to mean that you're going to be able to take some relief and some stress potentially off of your bullpen over 162 games. And because if you think about it, you're only allowed so many guys. You're only allowed 25 through the first 5 months of the season. Then you're allowed to, bump it up to 40 towards the end of the summer. Your bullpen can't handle a bunch of these extra inning games, So I think guys are going to be able to last longer. You're going to be able to see those electric guys on back-to-back nights. You know what I mean? They're not going to throw 2 innings, maybe. You know what I mean? So I like it. It's also, like you guys are talking about, it's going to make that home team trial just a little bit harder, you know what I mean? Because if they get it, it's going to make it more exciting, I love it. I think it's great. We even still saw last year, with the Mariners, didn't they still have a 19-inning game or something like that last year with runners on second base? So, it can still happen, it's not saying that it can't. I think it's just going to lessen it, as a whole throughout the league.
Okay. No, that's cool. You're wrong, but
I'm not.
Your
I'm right. I'm very clear.
Yeah. Yeah. We both think you're wrong, but no, we respect your opinion. Here's the
My
deal.
weight combined is more than your guys anyway, so I win.
Yeah, but I got more muscle.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm just joking. I'm still hurting from my wife's workout 2 days ago. No, here's the deal, Jake. Why don't we just do a base race after it? You know what I mean? Winner of the base race.
God.
Yeah, and then no, and then after we do snacks.
How
like the
woke
moms
are
bring
we
the
right
snacks.
now?
Or
Well, they do have catered food after the games anyways. So
that's true. Or
I mean,
if we want to make this entertaining, why don't we just play like 2 innings, go to the 11th of regular baseball, and then have a freaking home run derby? You know what I mean? Pick 3 guys. Let's go home run derby. It's like penalty kicks. It just doesn't make sense to me.
You're still going to get guys hurt. You're going to be getting some oblique injuries in there. That's not going to work.
Okay, but here's the deal. If
player
somebody's watching
safety.
it, you and player safety, if someone is watching the game and they've been watching till the 10th inning, they're not going to stop because the game might go another inning or because there's not a guy on second. Like, this is what's killing me. They're trying to rush games that are going into extra innings now. And I get the arms. The arms thing is the only thing I do understand. You're playing every freaking day, and you only have so many bullpen arms. Maybe add another bullpen guy. Add another guy, go to the show, and just have
have a starter that can pitch more than 5 innings.
That helps too. Yeah, back in the day, they used to.
I mean, you don't know what Ryan would say about this.
That's true. Yeah, and then we got guys like the Mariners had, like Eric Bedard. Did he ever go after over 4 or 5 innings?
How much you used to crucify him for taking himself out after 5 innings?
Yeah.
That's everybody now.
Yep, I agree with you. Ryan.
Yep.
Ryan, what do we think about this? What's going on, Orange Guy?
I get the point of it's baseball and this is how we got here. Don't change it. But I mean, those situations, it was exciting. Like at the 9th inning ending, and you're going, "Oh crap, let me end it now," because if not, next inning there's already going to be a guy on second, and that just made it exciting. And then Jake's right, player safety. So I'm leaning with Jake on this one.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay, listen.
2 right answers, 2 wrong answers.
Yep. Okay, I have a question then for you 2 idiots. Would you be okay with a guy in first to make them earn it a little bit more? I know, obviously, now you hit a ground ball, it's a double play, and you got 2 outs and nobody on. But what do you think about a guy in first, or would you prefer a guy in second if there was a choice?
No, I'm perfectly fine with a runner on. I mean, I think you are really stuck on the idea that it's so easy to get a guy in from second base this day and age, when the analytics are still showing I'm going to hit a home run. It's not as easy as like we grew up. Hit the ball to the right side, bunt him over, hit a sac fly and in. That's not happening regularly. So I'd be fine with it. I think the increase is still going to be there for the length of time, which is the reason why they wanted him to be on second base, is because now he's quote unquote in scoring position. More runs in extra innings, so on and so forth. Maybe that's going to draw a crowd. I think it'd be perfectly fine being at first base, because it's just like you're talking about. You still have to quote unquote earn it, but teams are still finding it hard to earn it with a guy on second base and no outs.
Yeah, they are. There's been the Mariners game was a perfect example. Like there's that one didn't happen because it was a playoff game, so a guy wasn't on second. But
that's right.
But
I remember I text Steven about that. I was like, "Where's the guy on second base?" And he's like, "It's the playoffs." And I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I didn't read that rule very thoroughly."
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jake's the head coach. He's just sending the guy out. Hey, go to second. It's the
getting out. No, you're not supposed to. Well, we're gonna do.
There were still regular season games where the games went, 13, 12 innings, and they're saying, like Jake was saying, they didn't take advantage of just getting the guy over and getting him in. Like it just doesn't happen in today's baseball.
Okay, so last question before we wrap this up. I'm just going to run by all you guys. All these new rule changes, they promote athleticism in the field, athleticism on the base paths, different kind of hitters maybe. Will this I think I already know your answer because you guys all answered it before, but will baseball start changing a little bit towards the complete team, or will we just keep watching a bunch of sluggers strike out and hit home runs? I know this year it'll be the same, but in the future, do you see this game changing at all? Let's start with Brian.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll change, but I think the real question, which you didn't ask, is what will be the net effect of all these rule changes?
Yeah.
And I think the
20 minutes, we already figured it out.
Yeah, the desire is to attract more fans or more eyeballs. And I don't believe these rules are going to do that. If you don't like baseball now because it's 20 minutes too long, then why are you going to like baseball because, the bases are 3 inches bigger, or that person can get disengaged only once or twice? I mean, this is just, I think most people are having the same debates we're having. Already watch baseball, and they'd watch baseball rather if these rules went into effect or not. So to me, I think I don't know what ratings are for baseball games, it's not going to change. And let's be honest, not very many people sit there and watch an entire 9-inning game on the TV anyway. So to me, this does nothing. I mean, all of these rules do zilch as far as making baseball an attractive product to people who don't watch it.
Agree. I like the any rules that can help maybe promote some stolen bases and things like that. But any rules that are just there to like shorten a game, you're right. I mean, it just doesn't do it doesn't do anything. Like I don't know. Ryan, are you gonna like all of a sudden watch more baseball because of these?
No, I'm going to be watching more baseball because of our YouTube channel and what we're doing and growing with the fans. I can't be left behind. So I'll definitely be watching more baseball that way. So, and to answer your question that you had earlier, I don't think it changes it because of the shift thing. It's going to be sluggers. I would hope in the future it would, more athleticism, those things that you're talking about, steal bases, singles and things. I don't think so. I wish it did, but I don't think so in the future. No.
Yeah. Jake?
I think we will see a little turnover. I think we're going to see more of the early to mid 2000s players, where you have the taller, a little more athletic, you know what I mean? They're looking for more of the combination, I don't think Daniel Vogelbach's coming back anytime soon, because of these rule changes. But I think the A-Rods, the 30-30 guys, the 40-40 guys, I think we're going to see a couple more of those. I think guys are going to start going, okay, well, I don't have to hit 40 bombs. I can hit 30 because I can steal 30 bases, and that might help things out. I think guys like JP Crawford are going to be huge because, I mean, once again, me, Bones. I'm a defensive guy. I think Brian hit the nail on the head. The athletic middle infielder is going to have to come back. So I think that's going to increase. I think it's going to change the offensive game from that standpoint. Carlos Correa, dude's pretty much going to be, those are going to be a couple of them, throughout the entire league that, hit close to 300 with those 30 bombs, but play average defense and have average speed. You can try and say he runs a 6'7", 60 all you want, but that's a straight line. That's not making an athletic move. It's just like football. There's a difference between running a 40-yard dash and being fast on the football field or running fast and being fast in pads. And guys like JP Crawford, once again, super athletic. I think we're going to see more of those types of guys. I hope. Later.
And if you get more athletic defenders, like you said, that changes your lineup right there because those athletic defenders are not going to be the 40 bombs. Yeah. Huge changes to America's pastime. It is weird to have such big rule changes to a sport that has been around for so long. Please don't ruin baseball. Please stop making so many rules. That's what we came up with. But that was a lot of fun. I appreciate you guys joining on, talking some baseball. We got I'm going to do some season previews. So if I can get Jake and Brian back and we can break down and give you some good future bets and who's going to maybe win divisions, win the World Series, maybe some MVP bets. We're going to break down some teams and it's going to be a lot of fun. So spring training is, I think everyone's reported on every team. I could be wrong, but if not, we are about there.
Game Saturday.
Saturday?
Full team session started.
Ooh, baby. And when you see those, like, you're like scrolling through TikTok or something and you see like a bullpen session, you hear the pop of the mitt or a crack of the bat and you just like, wife's looking at you. Why are you smiling? Oh, it's just baseball. I'm not crying. It's fine. Yeah, we're good. I love it.
I can smell the dude.
That's right. Anyways, for this channel, we're going to be doing daily NBA videos. Every morning, you're going to have an NBA best bets video. It's going to be like 8-10 minutes long. We're stopping the shorts. I want to get some real videos so I can talk a little longer because I like talking about sports. And baseball's coming up. We're going to give out bets for that. If you haven't joined our Discord, do it. We got about 400 people in it right now. We're talking sports all the time. People are bored during the NBA All-Star break, and there's a lot of NHL and different bets going on. So it's a lot of fun. Thank you again to Jake and Brian. That was awesome. And Ryan, thanks for joining a baseball video. Ryan's going to be a huge baseball fan by the end of this season. So it's going to be good times. But yeah, hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate all the followers, and we'll talk to you later.